Hello, dear students. Greetings to all. Let us learn a new chapter, Chapter 7 A Day's Wait, written by Ernest Hemingway. In this chapter, we will see the strong relationship between a father and a son. We will see the strong emotions and love of a father towards his son. The son is getting sick, and what are the feelings coming up in father's mind? And he is not speaking something that means he is not expressing his love with any words, but his thoughts will clearly show us the love of a father towards his son. Let us begin that one. He came into the room to shut the windows while we were still in bed, and I saw he looked ill. He was shivering. His face was white, and he walked slowly as though it ached to move. Here the story is beginning. The father is in the room, and then the son comes to close the windows. When father looked at him, he understood that the son is not fine. He looked ill. He was shivering, and his face was white. And while he was moving something like he was getting some pain. Then the father asked, "What's the matter, Schwartz?" Schwartz is a German word which means darling. And the son replied, "I have got a headache." "You better go back to bed." Father asked him to go back to the bed and take rest. Then the son said, "No, I'm all right. You go to bed. I will see you when I am dressed." So the father is getting ready, and the father said that I will come to your room and I will meet you when I am ready, when I am dressed. But when I came downstairs, he was dressed, sitting by the fire, looking a very sick and miserable boy of 9 years. The child is just 9 years old, and he is dressed and he is just sitting in front of the fire. So in foreign countries during the winter season, in the room they will have a special place to make the room warm. They will fire it with the coal and wood, and they make the room warm. So the child is sitting in front of that one or in the room, and the child is looking very sick, and he is looking very tired. When I put my hand on his forehead, I knew he had a fever. "You go up to bed," I said. "You are sick." "I'm all right," he said. The father is just touching on his forehead and measuring his or just feeling his temperature. Then he understood that he is not fine. The child is sick, and the father asked him to go back to the room and take rest as he is sick. But the son is not ready to go. When the doctor came, he took the boy's temperature. "What is it?" I asked him. The father asked. Then 102. Downstairs, the doctor left 3 different medicines in different colored capsules with instructions for giving them. So the doctor measured the temperature, checked the boy, and thereafter the doctor gave 3 capsules and informed or given all the instructions to give the medicine also. One was to bring down the fever, so there was one capsule that is to bring down the fever, and the other one was purgative. Purgative means that's a medicine that causes one to get rid of unwanted waste from the body. So after taking this purgative capsule, the unwanted waste from the body will be removed. The third, to overcome an acid condition. The germs of influenza can only exist in an acid condition, he explained. So influenza means that there is an infection that leads to fever, aches and weakness, and that is this influenza is existed or will be existing in an acid condition, and the third capsule is to overcome that acid condition, the doctor explained. He seemed to know all about influenza and said there was nothing to worry about it if the fever did not go above 104 degrees. So the normal temperature is around 98, and he has 102 degrees Celsius. Sorry, he had 102 Fahrenheit. There are 2 types of temperature. One is degrees Celsius and the other one is Fahrenheit, and it is measured in the Fahrenheit. And here 102 is too heavy fever. It is a he is sick. If it is going beyond or more than 104 degree Fahrenheit, then it is dangerous. This was light epidemic of flu, and there was no danger if you avoid pneumonia. Even though this word is starting with the P, it is pronounced pneumonia. Pneumonia means that is a serious illness affecting one or both lungs that makes breathing difficult. So thereafter, if the fever increases, it will change into pneumonia. Then we will be struggling to take the breath. It will affect our lungs. Back in the room, I wrote the boy's temperature down and made a note of the time to give the various capsules. The father listened all the explanations, instructions of the doctor. Thereafter, he just informed to the boy, and then the father came to the room and just noted down, written in one diary, the temperature of the boy and the instructions given by the doctor. Do you want me to read to you? Then the father is asking. Then all right, if you want to, said the boy. So it is not mandatory. If you wish to read, you can read. His face was very white, and there were dark areas under his eyes. He lay still in bed and seemed very detached from what was going on. The word detached means showing a lack of feeling. That means that the boy was not much interested, or he was not at all feeling anything in the room or anything like that. That means he just lying down in the bed only. I read aloud from Howard Paley's Book of Pirates. But I could see he was not following what I was reading. So even though the father was reading a story book for the child was not concentrating, or he was not listening. It may be because of his sickness. And the Howard Paley's Book of Pirates is a popular collection of adventure stories about pirates. Pirates means the sea thieves or the ocean thieves, the thieves in the sea, and written and illustrated by the American author Howard Paley. Okay, then, how do you feel, Schwartz? I asked him. So the father is asking, how are you, dear? Or how do you feel now, darling? Just the same, so far, he said. Oh, nothing special. It is not decreased or it is not increased. It is the same. I sat at the foot of the bed and read to myself while I waited for it to be time to give another capsule. So the father is reading the book, and he was waiting there to give the another capsule and for the time to come. It would have been natural for him to go to sleep, but when I looked up, he was looking at the foot of the bed, staring very strangely. So the boy is sitting over there, and the father looked at the boy. So normally after taking capsules or after taking medicines, the people may get asleep. But here the child is not sleeping, but instead of that he is looking at the foot of the bed, and it is looking very strangely. The boy is feeling very strange. Then the father asked, why don't you try to go to sleep? I will wake you up for the medicine. Then father said, you can sleep. I will call you when I need to give you the medicine. I would rather stay awake. But the child said, I like to stay awake. After a while, he said to me, you don't have to stay here with me, Papa, if it bothers you. It does not bother me. So the child said that you can go out, you don't need to stay here. But the father said that no problem, it's okay for me. No, I mean you don't have to stay if it is going to bother you. I thought perhaps he was a little light-headed, and after giving him a prescribed capsule at 11 o'clock, I went out for a while. So then the father understood that the child wished to be alone, or the child may be feeling light-headed. Light-headed means feeling giddy or dizzy. Then at 11 o'clock, he had given the next capsule, and the father just gone out. It was a bright, cold day. The ground covered with a sleet that had frozen so that it seemed as if all the bare trees and bushes, the cut brush, and all the grass and the bare ground had been varnished with ice. So the father had gone out. The situation outside is very cold, and everywhere it is frozen. You can see in the picture also. And then with this ice sleet, the trees, bushes, and everything looks like polished. So, dear students, you can see that on the right side, in a small yellow colored box, it is mentioned the literary term imagery. So, this is an example of imagery that is varnished with the ice. The author uses these words to create a vivid picture of a landscape so frozen in ice that it looks like polished and shiny. So, because of this ice, the bushes, the trees, and everything looked like polished. I took the young Irish setter for a little walk up the road and along the frozen creek, but it was difficult to stand or walk on the glassy surface, and the red dog slipped and slithered and fell twice hard. So the father is taking an Irish setter. Irish setter means that's a dog, a breed of dogs found in Ireland, having a flat, soft, brownish red coat. So that means it will have a lot of hair on its body, and then that's why it is to prevent the cold. And he is going with the dog for a little walk up the road and along the frozen creek. Creek means a small river or a stream, so it is totally frozen. But it was difficult to stand or walk on the glassy surface. So as he is moving over there, every place is cold and it is frozen, and it is a glassy surface. It was slippery, and the dog even slipped and fell down twice. When we went back to the house, they said the boy had refused to let anyone come into the room. So those who were in the house said that the boy was not allowing anyone to get into the room. The boy is saying, "You can't come in," he said. "You must not get what I have." So the boy is saying that you shall not come inside, because if you come inside, what I have, my fever, my disease, that will be coming to you, that will be spreading to you. So that shall not happen. So the boy is not allowing anyone to get inside the room. I went up to him and found him in exactly the position I had left him. So the child was laying down in the bed, and he is not at all moved. He was just laying down as I left him from there. White faced, but with a tops on his cheeks, flushed by the fever, staring still as he has stared at the foot of the bed. I took his temperature. "What is it?" "Something like 100, I said. "It was 102 and 4/10. "It was 102, he said. "Who said so?" "The doctor." "Your temperature is all right," I said. "It is nothing to worry about." "I don't worry," he said, "but I can't keep from thinking." "Don't think," I said. "Just take it easy." "I'm taking it easy," he said, and looked straight ahead. He was evidently holding tight onto himself about something. Evidently means very clearly or obviously he was holding tight onto himself about something. "Take this with water." "Do you think it will do any good?" "Of course it will." What happens is that the child was not allowing anyone to get inside. So finally the father came to the room, and then they have a talk regarding the illness. The child is thinking that he has something very serious ill, and he is not allowing anyone to get inside the room so that they will not get the sick or they will not get the disease. And the father said that it's all right, it's a normal fever, and it is 102. Then the child is saying, "Who said like that?" "The doctor." And finally he gave him the medicine. Then the child is asking, "Will it do any work? Will it be good for my health?" Then the father said, "Of course it will." And thereafter, the father is sitting over there. I sat down and opened the Pirate book and commenced to read, but I could see he was not following, so I stopped. Then the father started to read the book, the same book, but the boy was not listening. Then the father stopped. Then the child asked, About what time do you think I am going to die? He asked. What? About how long will it be before I die? So the child is thinking that he is going to die and he is much worried. How many minutes or how many days will I get to live? You are not going to die. You aren't going to die. What's the matter with you? Oh, yes, I am. I heard him say 102. People don't die with a fever of 102. That's a silly way to talk. I know they do. At school in France, the boys told me you can't live with 44 degrees. I have got 102. He had been waiting to die all day, ever since 9 o'clock in the morning. So, what happens is that the child from the school heard that nobody can live with 44 degrees, and now the child is having 102-degree fever. So, the child is thinking that he is going to die. Then the father said, You poor shats. Oh dear. I said, Poor old shats. It's like miles and kilometers. You aren't going to die. That's a different thermometer. On that thermometer, 37 is normal. On this kind it is 98. So at the beginning, I said that there are two degrees Celsius, or there are two thermometers. In one thermometer, 37 degree is the normal, 37 is the normal temperature, and that is degrees Celsius. And the other one is Fahrenheit. So that is 98 is the normal one. So the child thinks that the child has 102 degrees Celsius. That is wrong. The child has 102 Fahrenheit and his normal temperature is 98. But the child was thinking that the normal temperature is 37, which is the normal degree Celsius. Then, are you sure? The child asked. Absolutely, I said. It is like miles and kilometers. Which means the differences which have miles and kilometers, both are different. Two ways of measuring the distance. Likewise, Fahrenheit and degree Celsius are the two ways of measuring the temperature of the body. You know, like how many kilometers we make when we do 70 in the car? Oh, he said, but this case at the foot of his bed relaxed slowly. The hold over himself relaxed too. Finally, and the next day it was very slack. Slack means loose. And he cried very easily at little things that were of no importance. That means in the next day onwards, he became very childish and he started to play like a small child. So, what happened in this story is that the child is thinking or misunderstanding the temperature. The doctor said 102, and he was thinking that the doctor is talking about the degree Celsius. The ignorance of the temperature scales made him to think that he is going to die. Dear students, it's a very beautiful story, and you have to read it very well and understand the story very well. Have a nice day. God bless you all.